Bam, we're live. Welcome to day 54. Fantastic. All right, this is pretty exciting. Um, what we have going on is, as you know, I've done these lives now. This is 54 days. The lighting's a little off tonight, guys. I'm outside. It's just beautiful where I'm at. And with the last 54 days, I've given you an overview of prompts that would work for any remodeling business, right? To help you become to start winning, right? Many of you are losing. You're losing the daily battle. You're losing just in general sales, profit, employees, clients. You're losing your stamina. You're losing your confidence, and often you're losing your business. I've had quite a few people. We've had to send Chapter 7 bankruptcy instructions to help them look at what their options are. And these are people that just 2 years ago were on their way to thinking they had a multi-million-dollar business that they could sell, and they've lost it. It's slipped through their fingers like that. And here's what's happening: many of you got into the industry at a time where it was prime time. Okay, so if you've entered this marketplace in the last like 8 years, it has been just phenomenal to be a remodeler. And there are also now times where it is more challenging to be a remodeler. And specifically the last 5 years, up until this last year, basically, all you had to do was put some sort of a social media campaign together, answer, a DM, follow up with a text, a phone call, have a couple tools, and you were busy making money. Specifically from like 2000 to 2003 and a half, four, you couldn't not make money in this space. I mean, it was easy pickings, right? There was demand, there was lack of talent, and now what you're seeing is a leveling, and this happens in every industry, and it happens on cycles, so it repeats. So what we're seeing right now is the filtering. Those of you that don't have good business acumen, you're getting washed out, and a whole new set of people with hopes and dreams and ambition and spunk and energy will come into the marketplace. And if they learn business skills and they partner, and develop, then they'll survive. If not, then they're going to be wiped out. There is a reason why. I want to say the stats are more than 50% of remodelers fail within 3 years. Um, 70 to 80% are done within 7, and 90 some percent don't make it till a 10-year anniversary. So, and I can say this from someone who has been in the industry over 20 years. I have seen that cycle happen over and over again. And often the people that appear to be the most talented, because they, for one reason or another, like things take off here or there, don't always end up being the ones that survive, right? You have to employ some specific tactics and business acumen and discipline. Anyhow, so here's where we are. This upcoming challenge is being shifted to what we call like the Remodelers rulebook. And so for 100 days, I will be laying out what you need, right, to just make business happen for you and start winning, because many of you have been losing. So if you want to stop losing, then you need to sign up and get into these lives, or at least watch the replays at a bare minimum. And what a lot of you may not notice, depending on which channel you view my content on, you may think, oh, he only has a couple people checking him out here or a couple people there. Understand that, like, on different platforms, there could be hundreds, there could be thousands of people consuming content that gets put out there. And so don't be caught asleep at the wheel just because you're like, well, I've been on the Facebook. He doesn't have all that many people in that Facebook group. And that group is new, right? And understand that it is gaining traction, and a lot of content on different platforms is really resonating with people, and you're seeing a shift in the marketplace. And so I share all that with you to say, Don't look so much outwardly all the time about your business. Be focused inwardly. And if you have found yourself being a consumer of information for some time now, doing I worked with a gentleman, and he was part owner in one of his companies, and he would discuss the mental masturbation that the company would go through, and what that meant was they would just overanalyze everything. In fact, they would do so much analyzing that they would miss the opportunity and then have to start our arduous process of analyzing it, the new opportunity, all from fresh, right? So all again. So they just were in this cycle of consuming information, researching, but not implementing. And then things changed because they took too long to do anything other than they just sat back, and then they got confused and things got all convoluted, and the brain is not wired to just constantly consume. So there's a reason why like high performers have a balance. You take a little bit of your day to understand a new concept. You take a little bit of a day to mentally prepare, how am I going to put that out there? And then the bulk of the day is spent iterating, implementing, adjusting, seeing what works, trial and error. So at the end of the day, you want to fail fast, you want to fail forward. And if you don't have any L's, if you don't have any failures, you're not winning. You're coasting. All right. This game, this life is not meant to just sit back and play it safe. For some people, the challenge starts that, maybe high school was the last time you really sat down and tried to learn, or were asked to learn, and to input new information into your brain, right? And become more learned, study something, master a new technique, and just evolve as a person. So when you come out of, let's say, like a high school level, your skill sets may be here, right? Some of you obviously have better skills one way or another, but overall it's about here. And then as people level up, let's say they go take an internship, they go off and they join the services, they go to college, different skill sets start to level up, and then you have experience and time, you change a few jobs, hopefully you've challenged yourself and took on different roles, right? But most people by, I don't know, 25, that's the last new thing they've learned in their brain. And all they do now is rinse and repeat whatever convoluted story about the world that they had formed at the age of 25. That's the story that they're going to tell themselves and live until 75 if they're that lucky. There's another type of a person that continues learning, evolving, expanding their mindset, changing, bringing in more information. It allows them to experience more and to win more, right? Because you level up and you're just stacking skills, stacking skills. That's the type of person that this video and my channel, my courses, my entire program is set up for. It's for the person that wants to stop losing. They want to win, hands down. So there you have it. So what is awesome about this, let me get right into the content. All right. So those of you, I need to share the screen here. 1 minute. I mean, this is fantastic. And again, I appreciate those of you that are commenting and letting me know that you have a thought or a feeling one way or the other. And yes, you are right. It is one of John is telling me on my message that like right now is an amazing time to be in the remodeling game. It absolutely is. I mean, I've never been more excited to be a part of remodeling and construction as I've been like this last, I don't know, year. It's been absolutely amazing what is happening and how things are changing in the industry as we speak. So for those of you that are embracing the sky's the limit. Okay, so here we are, day 54, and John, thank you for commenting. I appreciate you being here many of the nights. That's awesome. All right, so day 54, know thyself, the business owner. So there's these thing called archetypes, and real quick, I'll break this down, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. Many of you are familiar with things like DISC and Myers-Briggs, and while these are good, they're not the whole thing. And what I'm saying is, DISC has been dumbed down and simplified so that you can think that there's 4 types of people, and if you can just put them here, here, or there, that you understand the world. And things aren't that black and white. It's more on a spectrum. So I would tell you that there's at least probably 10 or 12 archetypes, And what I've done over the 20 some years is I've been fascinated by all of this. I've heavily been into personality styles because as a salesperson, I was constantly learning about my prospects and putting them in categories and understanding how they make buying decisions. What is it that's important to them? Because what you learn is the reason that your sales figures, for most of you, you have like these different closing ratios. And the reason why you have your entire sales presentation process is because you're breaking down and going over the different ways that people learn and the way that people take in information, the way they consume information, the way they process information, and ultimately the way that they go about their purchasing when presented with options. And I have noticed that there's multiple styles of personalities that are out there, and different ways of communicating and presenting information has a huge impact on your probability of success. And what I mean by that is, for some of you that are in the one call close game, there are numerous prospects who will not one call close. I don't care how good you are. In fact, the more that you try to one call close, the more that they're going to go the other way, right? And some of you have learned this over time to where you present the offer and then you encourage them to get back to you, think it over, make the decision on your terms. And there are also many clients that will easily lay down and do the one call close, and they are perfectly suited for it. So the trick becomes, you as the salesperson, your goal is not to get every client to do a one call close. No, your goal is to identify as quickly as possible the prospect in front of you. Are they the one that will do the one call close, or are they the one that will not? And when you identify that, then you tailor your presentation and your process specifically to that person so that it feels natural and comfortable to them and they enjoy the process. So there are times where you can shortcut a 3-hour presentation and break it down to the bare minimums and be out with a sale. Some of you are actually talking too much and over presenting because the prospect was like, hey, I already know I needed a roof. Walk through, tell me how much, tell me what you do, tell me how to make sure it's going to be a good process. Let me know the terms. Let's go over the agreement and let's move on. I'm ready to go. That's why I had you come out, because I'm ready to buy the roof. So some of you are like shocked. No, we got to go through this. No, you just move on with the process. And then there's other people, I don't care if you gave them the roof for free, they probably wouldn't take it that day, because there's some people that need to process information differently. So this is why all of this matters. All right, so this is fantastic stuff. So if you've never read Sun Tzu, The Art of War, this can be life-changing for some of you, right? And look, I get it. Some people just aren't intrigued in personal development, and if that's you, you probably shouldn't be here, because the problem is you're not going to have great success, right? If you go through life blindly thinking that the way you do it is the right way and the only way and the best way, and if you're always judging your spouse, your parents, your siblings, your neighbors, your workers, co-workers, your competitors, if you judge everyone and like, well, this is the way I do it and that's why it's so awesome and amazing, you're short-sighted and ignorant to the spectrum that is the world, the population of people. So when I talk, a lot of times I want you to understand that I'm coming from a place where I recognize that you have multiple different personality types, and people act and behave and process information in their own way. And what I work on doing is I use a framework. It's called the format system. And I break down my presentation in a certain way that most likely will impact the 4 different primary ways that people take in information. And then towards the middle end, I start tailoring content more towards the 12 different personality styles, right? So here's what happens. Some of you love the content and you're like, this is awesome. I can't believe he does it that way. And that's because I'm hitting on your ideal style more so. That's probably by my default. Some of you are just like, Mike, I just want to get to the point. I want this and that. And if I was working with you on a more one-to-one basis, I can tailor that way for you, right? And then others of you are just like lost in the sauce. You don't know what's going on. You have questions. You're confused. You missed something. You came in late, right? And again, if I was working with you more on one-to-one, I can help tailor that. So understand that when you want to judge the other person, this is what I mean by this. When I'm watching or learning from someone, if I struggle with their content, and I'm like, man, I don't get that person, that lets me know that, oh, they are not presenting in my preferred learning style, the way that I like to learn by default. So what I have to do is be cognizant, and I'm aware of that, right? This is a whole nother level. Like some of you guys are going through life and you just play checkers, right? It's like black over red, da, da, da. Others of us have gotten to a place where we play chess and we're moving 3 and 4 moves ahead, right? And I can already see the train leaving the tracks. And that's what I'm talking about here is you're getting your level of understanding to a whole nother place, right? You're much more aware of yourself. You're aware of your limitations. You're aware of your defaults and your biases. And so you say to yourself, man, that person, like they're frustrating me and I don't like the way they're presenting. Awesome. And now you can break down yourself and say, okay, so this is what I've learned about myself. And I need to notice that this person's preferred way of teaching is like that. So now you adjust your perception of the person to say, their content's still good and what they're teaching is valid. I just have to adjust the style to which they're teaching that I can learn it. Right. And so you start figuring out a way to learn differently than you're used to learning. Some of you aren't even aware that you can do this. Right. You can totally shift. Some people are like, well, I just have to be live. I have to sit in a classroom and have the teacher. Others of you like, I only can learn when I'm online. It's all bull BS. You can learn however you're willing to let yourself learn and how you're willing to train yourself to learn. All right. Yes, you have your preferred learning style and the way that you like to do it by default. But then most of you are just talking about the way you consume information and you're not even talking about the way you take action. So let's have that straight. Perfect. All right. Now let's go back to Sun Tzu, The Art of War. If you know the enemy, you know yourself, right? And you need not fear the result of 100 battles. So, see, your enemy in business isn't always your competition. Often it's your blind spots, it's your habits when things get tough. It's the default mode that you fall into without even realizing. And some of you right now, this is making you so uncomfortable. And I hear you and I can appreciate where you're at. And I'm like, good, congratulations. Give yourself a high five and say, thank God that I didn't die without learning this, because this will shift and change everything for you. All right. It's so powerful. All right. So let's break it down. Most people look at tools like DISC or Myers-Briggs, right? And they help tell you like what you are, but not how it shows up in your remodeling business, or nor does it really get into how you'll be as a business owner. That's what is different about what I've created. I have taken those personality styles and archetypes and I break it down to like, this is what it looks like in the remodeling world. And if you were to accompany me as I go across the country or talk to people, you can see this clearly. You and I could sit in the back of the room. Somebody will come up and start talking to us, and I'll be like, "Hey, what do you think their business personality style is?" Exactly. And we can start to say, "What do you think they're struggling with in their business?" Ah, exactly. Right. What do you think that they do really well in their business? And you start seeing it as clear as night and day. It is amazing. All right. So anyway, this is what's so great about this. You got the 12 business owner archetypes that are all different, right? These are based on like real world remodeling business owner behavior, right? And it's drawn again. It's just I've had so many interactions with so many people over the years, because you understand when I got into business and selling right out of college. I was even selling before while I was in college, but right out of college, like I was going around to big cities and selling and working with business owners every single day. And I started gathering data on their personality styles and types to help me understand the best way to present my sales presentation. So, yes, I had a 16-page sales script that was memorized. And yes, I had a 10 to 11 step sales process that I would follow as an outline. And you learn to custom tailor and maneuver and shift that, because you're not just a regurgitator. Okay. You have to learn to be a processor, and you need to start becoming more aware. And some of you have to wake up. Like I get it. A lot of people are on lots of medications. A lot of people have health issues, and you kind of live in a fog most of the time. And you don't even recognize that that's a fog because you've been in the fog so long, it becomes your default. But when you start getting more mental clarity and you start waking up early and you start exercising and you start going, wow, like I'm alert, I'm on point, I can see this, I see it happening, I'm understanding my employees better, I'm understanding my customers and clients better. I understand my vendor relationships better. Man, this is where life just starts happening for you. Okay, so when you know your archetype, you'll know why you're winning certain clients and jobs. And you'll start to see, like, that's not even a challenge anymore, right? And then you can start looking for the opportunity on where you need to grow. So for me, I had to, my personality style, I had to work on being much more like warm and caring towards certain personality styles. I had to like take time and like smell the roses with them, basically, because I often just wanted to move right into business and like, hey, let's get this done. And what I've noticed is there are some personality styles where, hey, it's real important that we talk about like maybe some furniture that they have in their dining room, maybe an art piece that they picked up on some trip around the world. And that's what they're looking for, that little human connection. They're looking to share some of their story and their life journey, right? And you're thinking there, going, that's a waste of time. But as you do this, and as you recognize that person, and then you start recognizing, oh, this is what's really important to that person. What will help me in the sales process is connecting this into that. And that's when things just start shifting. And then it's a very comfortable experience for everyone. Anyway, you need to understand exactly who you need beside you to cover your blind spots, right? So if you think about it, I mean, we've talked about this before. In any major business that's had any success, and almost any successful personality that you see out there, you always see the front man, the person on stage, the spokesperson. There is always at least one or two others that are behind the scenes that made that person a complete person, because none of us are complete by ourselves. We all need our teammate, our partner, whatever you want to call it, that person that helps cover and picks up the slack. So like in my business, that I work with some other members, right, part of my team, and they help contribute to my process. They are good at doing the things that I'm not necessarily the best at, right? And by bringing them and partnering, so I look for specific personality styles based off of the type of tasks and part of my business that I need help in. It's the same way in my remodeling business. I look at, this is the style of leader that I need as my project manager, right? And this is the type of salesperson that I need with that style of personality. And this is the personality style of who my office manager should be. And for you, each of those roles could be slightly different depending on your level of involvement, and if you're a micromanager or if you let them run and gun, right? So you have to really understand who you are, and you have to understand like oil and vinegar and how all that works. All right, so here's how you do it. So I've got the 12 archetypes that you want to look at, and you use this AI prompt. You should take screenshots of this, okay? And then you want to take a screenshot of this. One, two, yeah, hold on, let me, you can't quite see them all. Don't worry, guys, we're almost done. There you, God, hide this. There we go. So you want a screenshot of that. So you're going to look to see who you are there. And there you go. What we're going to do is you need to take this owner's self-test, 36 questions. So screenshot this. That's the first 10. Take a screenshot. Okay, here is 11 through 26. Take a screenshot. And here's, do 26 through 36. Take a screenshot. Boom. Okay. And then here's your scoring key. So take a screenshot of that. And guys, I understand that this eventually will be part of an automated system. But for right now, this is all you need to do, is you're just going to do a self-assessment for you. I'm telling you, this is like going to blow the doors off of where you're at with your, not only just your business, but in your life. Like it can help you change the way you parent, the way you are a partner or spouse, within your intimate relationships. It'll help you change the way you relate and appreciate and understand family members, neighbors, coworkers. This is just, it's game changing, really. I don't like to say that word because it's overused, but this will make a huge impact if you allow it. Okay, so, and take a screenshot of this. These are the other options, and it depends on your scoring. Um, all right, but at the end of the day, what's important is just answer these 36 questions, and then you can reach out to me, and I'll help you. We can go through this and come up with who you are. But some of you will be able to self-identify, right? So when you look at this list of the 12 and you take the questionnaire, so you take the 36 questions, you answer those based off your results, you look at these 12 and you can probably see which one you think you are. Now, for some of you, you have a vision of yourself that's not accurate. And that's the rub. The key here is not who you wish you were, right? When you're answering these questions, you don't put down who you want everyone to think you are. You put down who you actually be. Like, well, I wish I was more this, but in reality, I'm that. Like for me, for the longest time, I always wished I was more extroverted. And I was like, I wish I was like more charismatic and just had large, huge groups of friendship circles, right? The reality is I can be personable, but at the end of the day, I am not the type of person that runs around in like a circle of like 40 to 80 people, right? Like I have my few good friends and I interact with them, and then I coach and help 1,000 other people. But as far as like who I spend most of my time around, it tends to be smaller circles. And that just helps me stay more focused. That's all. So you have to understand that you may want to be a certain style. Like I always wanted to be more in more this extroverted, and I've had to work on that in general. All right, so guys, that is man, this is amazing stuff. So hopefully you enjoy this. We are gonna have these next 100 days are laid out so that you can come in to any one session and just pick up what we're working on and run with it. Okay, it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I may or may not stay on YouTube for the entire 100 days. I think so, but we will see. So I'm soon to be probably using some other social media platforms also, because the followings are growing over there, and maybe it'll be in more than one place. We'll see what the 100 days brings us. But today was the end of day 54. So look and understand, this is the pregame. Like if you're losing and you're ready to win, I'll walk you through it day by day, and we will get you winning by the end of this challenge, the 100-day prompt remodelers rulebook. Man, so excited to have you guys here. Thank you so much for being around. Appreciate those of you that return for the lives and that are messaging and reaching out. The impact is amazing, right? Like sometimes it's just good to have someone to bounce ideas off of. And for me, being a business owner was often a very lonely place. You don't know who to talk to. Where do you get help? Especially in your local market. It's not like, 3 or 4 contractors are usually all getting around and will talk openly. If they do talk, it's all BS. It's like, oh, everything, either everyone's complaining or everyone's bragging how good it is. You don't really find the balance to what business is really happening. And that's what's amazing about having a group like this, specifically like inside some of the Facebook groups I have, where you guys can get to interact with others, and not even if you talk to them directly, but you can see indirectly what's happening in their business and where they are, and you're like, damn, I should be doing that. Or at the same time, you're like, hey, I used to be where they are. Whew, I'm glad I cleared that hurdle, right? So everything's relative, and we're all going through different things at different times in our life. For many of you, like the business might be suffering right now, but maybe life, maybe you as a parent, it's awesome and you run great things are happening with you and your spouse or within your family. Your health is awesome, and others, it could be reversed. Um, your health is struggling, your business is struggling, but maybe things with the family are amazing. We're always, all of us at different periods in our lives are just juggling the different aspects of who we are to try to make it work. Right? So just because one person's really doing well with their health, it doesn't mean that they're doing excellent with their finances or with their relationships. They may, but for most people, it's hard to be good in all 3 areas at the same time, all the time. Some people are. Usually once you clear the finance hurdle, the other areas get much simpler. And that's the struggle, really. And that's what something like this program can help you. If you can get over that financial hurdle where money isn't no longer the worry or the fear, it's amazing how many other health issues, right? And this is so one of the things you'll see in those archetypes, and this is definitely something I get into with you if we work coaching wise, is I help you understand that like a lot of you guys have health issues because of the way you process information and fear and your internal strength, and you're always ruminate and you're worried. Now you think it's normal. You think you're being smart. You think like this is how you do things, and you don't even realize that you've shifted and gone so far off the pendulum that that's why you're having all these internal problems. Like that's why you have health issues, because you subconsciously you're worried all the time and you're anxious and you're scared and you're frustrated, right? And others of you are like, man, I let all that go, right? And then life becomes this and it becomes that, and then when you get into a little bit of routine, right, the stomach issues can go away, the other internal problems, you start noticing you don't need all the medications, you start sleeping better, you feel better, right? So it's a process. And I don't say any of this to call anyone out or to say that this is right or wrong. What I'm saying is there's a continuum spectrum, right? And everybody falls somewhere along the lines. The question you have to be asking yourself is, what are you doing so that you are not in the same place or a worse place 6 months from now, a year from now? That, I would tell you, is where there's a problem. So with that being said, and hopefully you'll see this first thing in the morning and play it while you're getting ready for your job, driving, whatever, and see what things it brings up. If you haven't read the book, Art of War, get that. And if you don't know much about personality styles, take this quiz. Go back, watch it, screenshot, process it, and reach out to me if you have any questions, okay? And I'd be real, you can always reach out to me and say, hey, Mike, this is what I found out that who I am, right? And then I can walk through with you and say, okay, from you, this is the things you have to be careful of as a business owner. So I'll give you my example. So for me as a business owner, my business took off when I started understanding the importance of having operations and systems in place. So I saw them in other businesses, but I was a person I could run more up in my head. And that worked well for me in the very beginning, right? Because I'm a quick thinker. I can process a lot of information. So the first few jobs were crushing them and everything was up here. The problem was when I wanted to go duplicate that with employees, they're not up in here with me. They don't know what I'm thinking. I would think and like to assume that everyone should know what I'm thinking and how to do it, but that's not the reality, and that's a childish way to go through life. And I had to learn those lessons the really hard way with my first several employees. Once that happened, and it just so happened that over time, like then I had a spouse come in and started working in the business, and her skill set was very good at helping me create manuals, right? I could give her the concepts and the ideas, and I would say, this is what I need. This is what works out in the field. This is how we do it. And then she could help. I watched how she would formulate and draft those documents into like handbooks and guides and right. And then that's when I was like, oh, I need to put these in frameworks, right? So I could iterate off of that foundation. That is when things change. But do you see how it took two of us? I couldn't do it all by myself or on my own. Any one of you only get so far in life or in your business. So if you are like a solo entrepreneur, solo operator, recognize that right away. I'm not saying you have to bring a partner per se into the business, but then you're going to need like somewhere to go. You're going to need a coach. You're going to have to get part of some sort of a mastermind group. And then you're going to have to bring somebody in, whether it's just as some sort of an employee that you hire, or, you have to find someone who does the things that you're not great at. Otherwise, your business is going to stall. It's going to be stagnant, and eventually it's going to just start dropping. So, all right, guys, that's everything for tonight. I'm real excited to have you join. We look forward to seeing you for the next part of the 100-day challenge, and take care. So hopefully you found this setting nice and relaxing. It's so amazing where I'm at right now. I mean, look at this. I don't think you can see it. Maybe if I turn the light off. Hold on one second. No, the resolution on the screen. So you can see the moon behind me on the water. And that's just amazing. So the, the right here, the water is like all lit up. Right, it almost looks like a mirror out there. So that's the only problem with this. When I use the laptop for the webcam, and I don't bring my HD camera to plug in. All right, guys, have an amazing one. Oh, and for those of you that are still on at this point, if you reach out to me, I can help make that questionnaire easier for you. I can get you like a PDF or something. So all you got to do is send me an email or message me directly, and we'll take care of that for you. Okay? Work smarter, not harder. Have a good one.